Yeah.
Welcome to Drum Magazine's Behind the Brand, where we tell the stories of the powerful young entrepreneurs in South Africa. Today, we have a man who's basically going to introduce himself because at this point, he doesn't even need an introduction from me. Please.
Hey,
How are you, Tshepo?
Tall, dark, and handsome. Ngiyabona.
Do you understand? How was I going to describe that, please? He had to say it himself. How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I am great. So today we're getting your story. Finally, we've seen how good your brand looks on people's bodies.
Really, yeah.
And I just did now also, and we got a whole mapagisha there,
you know what
fitting
I mean?
a jean. So now let's get to the bottom of it and get into the cracks of your story. Where does Tshepo Mohlala come from?
So, do you want the real story or the PR story?
The real story, please.
Okay, cool. So I am one of two, from my mom and dad. My sister is the eldest. I am the youngest child. Born in Leidenburg in Limpopo. Grew up in Davidton. My mom and my dad separated. We moved to our grandparents' place in Tsakane. That's where I actually grew up. Coming from Kotsakane, I think I was lucky to be in that space. You know, everything happens for a reason. Like, only now when you're older, you just like, everything actually works for you, you know. Moving to our grandparents' place, it was more of a Christian home. I remember when we were coming in there, it was like Umkuku. And then like they built from Umkuku, built a second Umkuku, built a third Umkuku to make rooms. And then my granddad is a construction worker, so after building a house, we come back with like leftover stuff and like builds bedrooms and whatever. So he built a house from like just getting old stuff that people are not using to build a brick and mortar house. Growing up Kotsakane, I think it was quite fun for me. My grandmother never allowed us to play in the street. So we were locked inside the house while everybody else was playing. She was like, nope, you guys are not going into the street, man. I'll never have a kid or let's start it. You know, and I think for us, like, it kind of made us to be like, spend more time brainstorming, daydreaming about like the future that I want to see for myself, the future that I want to create. So I had more time to myself. Like, I'm alone. I move alone most of the time, and it's because of how I grew up. My grandmother's a pastor, so also like I'm a man of faith, raised by a very strong woman of faith, and also a public servant. And you know, when you're raised by a public servant, part of your life journey becomes a service to the community. And that's what, like, I think the Tshepo brand is all about, is at the center and the core of it is really servicing people.
And I mean, you say you had a lot of time to imagine the future.
Yeah.
Paint the picture for us. How did the future look like for Tshepo Mohlala?
So I mean, like, Mabuya Tsakane, there's no streets, it's gravel road, right?
Of course.
And you watch movies and you watch TV and you see like people like traveling, being on an aeroplane, people being like eating whatever they want to eat at any time, wearing the clothes that they want to wear. So for me, I think in high school, I watched a lot of fashion TV and like I wanted to be in that world. You know, I imagined myself being in Paris, being in Milan, being in the US, also being a name brand, being somebody who doesn't disappear. When I was a kid, I used to disappear in a room. Like, I was so quiet, super shy, and I disappeared. So fashion was like always like, it was like my armor to be visible and to be noticed and to be seen in the world. And I guess that like really made me like start imagining myself using fashion as my weapon, using how I look and how I dress as my weapon, because I knew like when it comes to confidence, I lacked confidence. I had identity issues, and that's how I imagined the world. It was like, I'm gonna fly around, like, and I'm not gonna need anything. That's what I imagine. Like, I'm not gonna live a life where nyaswela, you know,
Yes.
like there's lack of, and because everything around me was a lack of, you know, and the world for me was like, whatever, if I want a toy, I'll buy a toy for myself. If I want food, I want to buy the food that I want. If I want to go to a restaurant, I'll go to a restaurant. So I always wanted things that I wanted to have a life where anything that I want, I'll make it happen, and I can get it anytime and anywhere.
You've always wanted the soft life before it even became a thing, basically.
Yeah. Soft
You
life.
just knew.
I'm a soft guy, you know what I mean? I'm a soft guy.
Yes.
I've never been like in an aggressive space. I've never been an aggressive person. You know, like once upon a time, I moved to my mom and I moved to a location, Wattville. Stayed there for like 3-4 years, and in Wattville, it's a place where like you had to be a daughter, like you know, like there's gangsterism around, there's all of that, and like I always imagined myself not being part of that lifestyle. So for me, it's like having money, having influence will take me out of the streets,
of course.
And I don't have to be like kill somebody or carry a gun to show that like you are a man and you can do what a man does. But like for me, soft life is, I think it's the best life.
Yeah, and when you did watch fashion TV, and you were just a kid and you were making sense of fashion and all of that and what it brings and how it, like the backside to the runways, basically.
Yeah.
What did you end up doing with that vision in your head? Did you start drawing? Did you just start going to more of these expos, if there were any at the time?
I mean, like it's a kind of like my expo. There's no fashion shows, of course. But one thing that I got from Kotsakane was I started drawing a lot, like sketching items that I want to have. I think when I was in 2000 and maybe 2005 actually. I was one of the first guys in my neighborhood to wear skinny jeans. Do you know what I mean? So like for me, I was like a trendsetter in my own space. So that's when I started. Then in matric or first year, I started selling a suit. So I'd go Kaya Sands, there's another place in Kaya Sands, and you buy a bale of suits, buy a bale of secondhand suits in there, and the bale was like, they weigh like 250, and then you can find like a suits I-10. You know, when you're lucky, you can even get like 20 in there. So I'd like dry clean them, take them to the dry cleaner, fix them up, get them to a tailor, fix them up, then go to church and sell them. You know, so I had that audience already, and like for me, it's like you buy it for 250, get it washed for 50 rand, get it tailored for 100 rand, you sell it for 750 to 1,000 rand. You've made a good margin, you know. So like for me, that was like my first entry into like fashion. Then I had a brand back in the day when I was in church. It was called Solomon's Colonnade. And I was just making T-shirts and selling them at church. So church became like a place where I can trial and test things. And like because I had a flair for fashion, I was a stylish dude. So like it was kind of easy to sell it because like they see it on me, it looked good. Then I'm like, okay, cool. If it looks good on you, I can probably pull it off. So I had that platform. Unfortunately, when I matriculated, I went to study filmmaking. My friends and I were always wanting to be filmmakers, and like I wanted to be a storyteller. And as a filmmaker, like from matric, I went to study filmmaking. But like that's when I realized again that like my love is not in film, my love is actually in fashion. And how do I ignite that, and how do I make that a reality?
So when people were looking forward to worship team and congregation, others were looking forward to seeing what Tshepo was pulling out of his wardrobe on Sunday.
Of course.
Listen, I want to go to that church.
It was amazing. I mean, like I went there a couple of weeks ago, and it's not like how it was when we were young, you know, like the young people are no longer going to church. And like also we left the township. So like the legacy was never passed on, you know, like there was nobody to pick up the legacy. But like we had a very interesting movement when we were young, you know. We were all like go-getters, we were all like entrepreneurial in our thinking. And I think my generation was like very like entrepreneurial in terms of how we think. We always wanted the best from ourselves. Our elders always like also encouraged us to dream big, you know. Everywhere you go, they're like, yo, dude, like dream, you know, dream. Whatever you dream is gonna happen. So dream hard, dream as much as you possibly can. And like no one's gonna kill you for dreaming. And only you know your dreams, right? Even when you fail, nobody knows that you failed. Nobody knows that I failed. I fail like every day, but like nobody knows that I failed. So for me, it's like I dream. I'm like one of the biggest dreamers that I know, and sometimes I sound insane. Like, you know, like when you speak to people and they're like, okay, cool, I spoke to the wrong people. Like they don't get you know.
And then when it does come to fruition, they're like, now we see it. So you're also a visionary.
I think I'm a visionary. I think we all are visionaries. You know, I think everybody is a visionary. The difference between myself and probably somebody who's like sitting is I act on my vision. You know, I write it down and I want to see it happen. It doesn't just end here in my head or like sitting. I do something about it, and that's the difference with me and other visionaries who are sitting. Everybody is a visionary. You have your own dreams, right, and hopes, and the difference between different people is the action. Of course. Right? Do you go out there and go look for the job, or you're gonna wait for somebody to offer you the job? You go out there and put yourself out there to the world. You know, like I've done so many jobs where I was never being paid, and so I've offered my skills for free to learn and to be within the space. You know, so people can't. I feel like a lot of young people sometimes they don't want to sacrifice being in a space where they're not gonna get paid. It's for free. Do it for a year. Do it for 2 years. But like for the fact that you can be in that space and learn and absorb as much as you possibly can, that in the next couple of years you can use it to your advantage. And I think I paid forward, so I paid the dues, bruh.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get to how long it took for you to get to where you are right now. But now let's pick up from you studying film and television. Do you drop out? Do you just see it through and then go to what really drives you, which is passion, which is fashion?
I dropped out. I finished the year. Finished my first year after, and then after that I dropped out. I sat down with my family and I told them, I was like, guys, like, I know what I asked for you is from you guys to take me to a private institution without money, but like, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I'm gonna disappoint you. I wanna go do fashion, and it was like, dude, like, come on, like, bro, like, Tshepo, are you okay? Like, he's smoking in Joburg, like, what's going on? You know, and I understand where they're coming from. It was like, in the township, when you think of a fashion designer, you think of a tailor or a seamstress who's like backroom garage, self-taught, or went to a college and got like small skills and like you do those small fashion shows. You never think of a brand. Do you know what I mean? Like when we were coming from a generation where like you never think of a global brand. You know, it's our dream was like around our society. So for me, because I was in Joburg and I got exposed to people who are like playing on a big game, who are playing in a big game. You know, I went to a David Tlale show and I was like, damn, what? This is real, you know? And I was like, if David Tlale can do it, it's from the East. I'm from the East. Come on. I can also do it, you know? So for me, it was like, because I saw that and then I pursued it. Dropped out, finished the year after I dropped out, went to study fashion design at the University of Johannesburg, Efada. And at that place, I couldn't finish the year. It was hard. Fashion was like difficult to study. Like fashion is a difficult course. It's like probably like studying engineering. It's hard. Yeah. You fail one module, you can't move on to the next. You know, you can't move on to second year. You have to pass everything. There's 12 modules. And you're in class from 7 to 7. It's tough. It's like, it's emotionally draining, financially draining, physically draining, and fashion is expensive. You know, with fashion, you can't just have it's very practical. So you have to go and like buy fabrics, you have to buy and do, so it's very expensive.
Quality fabrics.
And quality and all these things, and like if you don't have, you're in trouble. You know, so like that year was very, very, very difficult for me. So I had to do side jobs in the meantime while studying. Then unfortunately, like I couldn't maintain, and due to fees, I had to like drop out. Was sad, but like the best thing I've ever had and best thing that ever happened to me. You know, like that was a challenge for me. That will you ever make it as a fashion designer? Will you ever like see this vision through of becoming a best? You know, like I remember this one friend of mine said to us when we were young, I was like, I want to be so big that like when I walk into a room, everybody forgets everybody's name but remembers mine. I was like, angege. You know, I'm going to make sure that like when I step into a room, people know who I am, what I do, and what I represent, what I'm all about. Nobody should forget who I am. And that's the type of impact that I wanted to have in the world.
Yeah, then what happens? Because now it almost looks like it went downhill.
From there it was downhill, dog.
Yeah, so let's talk about the downhill before the actual shooting to the stars.
Yeah, it was actual downhill from there. I remember after dropping out, I was doing like piece jobs, promotional jobs, you know, like I was part of like, you know, like those student promos. So you go like, they stand by the robot giving out pamphlets. 5 a.m. in the morning, you're like, you're that guy, annoying, please open the window, ta-ta.
That time you were a shy kid also.
That time you're a shy kid, but like, you know, you need the money, you know? So you gotta do what you gotta do, right? And I did that a lot. I did that a lot so that like I don't go home and ask for money. Because like, you know, like you can't ask from a place where there's nothing, you know? So I did promotions, I started doing shoots on the side. I did like, you know, like I'd shoot at my weddings, take photography. Then I started my own blog online. When Blogspot was starting to become a thing, Tumblr was becoming a thing. So I started doing that, documenting my fashion lifestyle. I remember this one formal job that I had was a telemarketing. You know,
the people we hang up on.
Yeah, the people we hang up on, you know. And I'm very kind to them, but sometimes I'm like, yo, my sister, I told you, I don't want this thing. What would you say? Like, you know,
we've had this conversation
before. Like, come on, I'm funny, you know. But I was that guy, Joe. I had to do it, and that was the worst job actually to ever take. The guy, I remember, after being interviewed, he said to me, after seeing me 3 days at work, is like, you look like you don't belong here. You don't belong here, but like, I know you're doing this because you're a job, you need the job, but you actually don't belong here. So that whole month was hard, you know. I got paid, I think like $3,000 or something, I don't remember. Took that money and get out 12 on a Friday. Lunchtime, I ran away. Didn't tell anybody. I just like ran away and never looked back. West
Friday,
Pay. Took a taxi, went to downtown Joburg. Went to this shop, second-hand shop that sells clothing. I knew the owner, and I spent half of it there. Bought myself second-hand clothes, and I asked him. I was like, "Yo, dude, like, do you have a job?" He's like, "Yeah, actually, I've got an opening. You can come be a sales assistant." So I was and then I became a sales assistant there. So 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out. So for 2 weeks, you can go and pursue your passions. 2 weeks you're in, Monday to Saturday to Friday, selling from 7 till 5 p.m. And I loved it because that was a place where I could touch clothes on a daily basis. I could see people who are inspired artists, like people coming in who, you know, like very funky people who are looking for stuff that's like not out there. So it was a very fun time for me, and that like really like cemented my place within the fashion industry. That cemented my vision being a fashion designer. It's like, okay, cool, now that you're selling clothes, dude, like you see stylists coming on a daily basis. What are you gonna do with the connections that you have? Yes. So like I started pursuing that, and like everybody who worked in that store, right? Like this one chick became Black Coffee's manager. Right, the other chick became like a dancer. She was traveling the world with the Envoy. So I was like, everyone is coming from this place. You know, I know them, so I have to be also like, I can't be like.
The standard is high.
The standard is high. The other one is in Europe right now, dancing with the Anwar. Me, I was like, I wanna set a standard for myself, and that's where like I pushed hard. So I met a dude while I was interning for another stylist. I met a dude. His name is Tato, and like he had a brand, and I was like, cool brand. And this one time he gives me a call, "Hey Tabs," because I was like becoming like a little bit popular in my small space, you know. And it's like, "Yo Tabs, how about we become partners? I've got this brand, and I think like it could be good for us if we partnered." And we started the brand, we co-founded the brand together. It was a denim brand, streetwear denim brand. Opened our first shop, I remember, in 2013 November opened our store in downtown Joburg, Fox Street, selling jeans.
Now, what's the name of
cool
this brand?
And I but think about mentioning my interviews.
Oh, okay. No, we get it.
Don't mention us. Also,
So it's still operational.
Yeah, it's still operational.
Okay, cool.
And we ran for quite some time. I mean, like we showcased at SA Fashion Week. We did so much together, and until like our visions like grew apart, you know. I think like I started becoming more comfortable in my skin. I started being confident in this fashion thing, and you know, like sometimes when you're doing something and people start feel that you are overtaking them, you know, like I'm the founder, like why is everyone coming to you?
Yes.
But I'm like, dude, me, I go out and I bring these people here, so you should be happy that like people are coming and walking in and buying. They're not feel threatened. Actually, you should be like, how do we use Tshepo even better, more? You know, so I think our visions were not aligned. So I was like, you know, like if you're gonna feel threatened by me bringing customers here and being the guy who's seen, because like I wear the brand head to toe on a daily basis, you wear something else. On a Monday, you could wake up in an international denim brand. Me, same thing. I'm committed. So I was like, you know what, it's okay. Let me just take a step back. I'll let you guys do your thing on your own, and I'll go figure it out myself. So I left the brand end of 2014. This was like a year and a half running.
Yeah.
End of 2014, I left the brand. Jan, it's official, and I have nothing to do.
I was about to say, I was about to ask now that wasn't it scared starting from scratch when you were just about to recover from the downhill? Like, wasn't it scary? Or what was scary about it? Because it was definitely scary.
I think it was beyond being scary. It was more of an eye opener, dog. It was like, okay, cool. Here's another challenge for you, dog. How are you gonna surpass this? How are you gonna go through this? You know, I think then on the side, like Tshepo the Jean Maker was my Instagram handle, and I created a logo in Feb. I remember, put it out there. I was like, something big is coming. You know, for a while, and I kept on saying
that is 2015.
2015, Feb. Something big is coming, something big is coming, something big is coming for like 2-3 months. Nothing is happening. Like I'm couch surfing. I have no money. I don't want to take promotional jobs anymore because like I've been on a magazine, dog. Like come on, like I was on a magazine now. I was on Bonamaji, Pick and Pay, the Colgate. No ways, you know.
Please, it's all the way up from here.
It's all the way up, so you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I was like couch surfing, and luckily at the time I had like very great friends. My friends were, one guy had a small place, two of them actually. One of them was in varsity at UJ. Or one had his own business, and like he was doing like when Facebook and like all those digital content creators were starting to do content creation for companies. So he was one of those first few people, so he could afford to pay rent. So we all stayed in his room, in the student room. So it was like 2-3 gutter beds in one bedroom. There was like six guys. When the owner comes, they're like, so everybody shouldn't come at this time, you know. So and I stayed there for a very long time, and the boys supported me, and like I'm very, very lucky. Like if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been here, you know, because like I wouldn't have like folded eventually and go and look for a job somewhere. So in that process, I remember a friend of mine, and we went to some event, and we're coming out at night, and I was like, we're in an Uber, and Sbu was like killing it in the game, right? He's killing it. It's like, this guy's making $500,000 a month, like he's killing it. He's like, he's at the top. So I'm like, hey dog, me, I'm depressed, bro. Like I don't know. He's like, Tshepo, you're the chin maker. Go for it, do it. Do it. Like just shy that day. I was dating this lovely lady at that time, and I told her, I was like, yo, dude, like I think I really want to do this. I want this brand to start. And but I had Tshepo the Jean Maker, but I was like, is Tshepo the right word or the right name, the right label to go forward with, you know? So then I started self-doubting myself. And I had a couple of names written down, you know, like different name brands. I was like, okay, this will sound amazing. This will sound amazing. This will sound amazing. met different people who I know in the industry. What do you think? They're like, hey, this one is nice. Hey, this one is nice. Then eventually I came back to Tshepo. I'm like, actually, Tshepo is cool, right? It's like, Tshepo is me, and I make jeans. Like,
why am I switching
it up? You know, like now I have to like resell this thing. Like, okay, cool, I'll use Tshepo. So I use Tshepo. I got a loan for 8,000 rand from my ex-partner, and I went to downtown Joburg, bought myself fabric, and I created a first range of jeans, which are called the Presidential Slim Fit, which today we're still actually making them here.
And then how long was the downhill just before they climbed?
I mean, it was over 7 months. I mean, like from Jan, like I started the brand in November. I initially launched in November. So you can imagine, like, from January to November,
Probably that was the longest 7 months of your life.
It was the longest 7 months of my life because like a lot of things was also happening for the people around me. So like when things are happening for people around you, you always ask yourself, what is wrong with me? Like, what is wrong with me? You know, and it's a very depressive space. And like I said, like my friends were very supportive. And Besngashailani Pansi, and you know, they're like, okay, cool, I have cash, let's all go to the market. You know, let's all go to the club. So like, you know, like they always revive me, and like it's always a blessing to have people like that who've got your back when they know you're at your lowest. And that's how life is supposed to be anyway. You know, it's like when somebody's down, and if you have, pull them up, you know, rise with them when you're at the top. And that's what Tshepo is all about now. It's like when I'm at the top, I rise with others with me. You know, it's not for me. My success is not for me. My mom once said, your success is our success. You know, so my success is not just for me. Success is shared. You know, if I'm financially successful, share the finance. If I am famous, share the fame. If you have a platform, share your platform. You know, so for me, success is all about sharing what you have.
Yeah. And I mean, then you are starting this brand, and at first you don't have the capacity, the financial capacity that is, and then you finally get it, and then you're buying these fabrics. What becomes your first item to design from scratch and build it up until it becomes a final product, and you're like, this is what I wanted?
It's a pair of jeans. Just one pair of jeans, no t-shirt, nothing. I wanted to my vision was like make the best pair of jeans in the world that a person can wear, dress it up and dress it down. So you can wear it to work or you can wear it to play. So that's basically like a simple, slim fit pair of jeans with gold stitching, but make it at the level of an international brand.
Yes.
So that was the toughest thing. Quality. Making a pair of jeans, a snip up and place. It's hard. The skill that goes into it is hard.
Because it's also like a hard material. You know, like were you using a machine?
You're using machines. So I collaborated with a guy called Jabu, and he had two machines, a double stitch machine and an overlock. Collaborated with him. He was already making denim, so I worked with him to actually get it to the quality and the level that I want, and to get the pattern right. And so for me, like, collaboration has always been everything. I don't have the machinery, I have the material. You have the machine, I'll pay you as I sell. So we collaborated on that, and we created the first range of jeans. And it was a very long time. It took me a long time to sell it because I ain't got no shop, I ain't got nothing. I only have Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. So I was like, okay, cool, you're gonna use this platform. Ask your friends who've got a camera to take a picture of you and put it out there in the world. Shoot it nicely and put it out there. Put it out there in the world, shared my personal stories, boom, you know, and you know, a lot of people picked it up. I remember when I first put my professional photos out there, I got a call from Forbes magazine. I got a call, you know, like, so all these.
It was your time now.
So it was starting, like, it was bubbling up, and like everybody just wanted to hear about your story. Like, oh, cool, Tshepo, and you make jeans. Interesting. Tell us more. You know, that put the brand out there in people's faces, but like, it wasn't converting. I wasn't making money. You know, now you all this PR, but like no one is buying. All this fame, but like there's no money in the bank. You know, but I understood, like, for me, if I'm gonna build a legacy brand, these are the challenges that I have to deal with. And like in the next 50 years, I can tell a story of how it took me so long to sell a pair of jeans, and how today we have over 50,000 or 50 million customers around the world. So for me, it's always humbling to be in that journey, to be in a journey where you have nothing. So you have to make everything around you work. You know, whatever little that you have to use it sparingly, you have to use it wisely, use the people around you, use your network around you, and stick to your vision, you know. And I think also I was lucky because I started early. I started when I was 24. I was young. So I'm not
fresh.
Like at home, I know they need cash, but I was like, listen, if you guys can bear with me for a while, this thing is gonna pop someday, and when it pops, all of us are gonna eat, you know. So for me, it was like, when you're young, you can start your brand, do it, because like you have nothing to lose. When you're older, that's where it becomes hard.
Because now there are too many things just
too many responsibilities.
Yeah, no. There's a kid that wants Pampers days.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's tough. It's tough. It's tough.
And then now it goes from being one gene to being a range of everything we see in the stores. And I mean, before you even studied fashion, you went into filmmaking because you were intrigued by storytelling.
Yeah.
With the rest of the products that then came to life after the very first gene, what was the story you wanted to tell?
The story I wanted to tell was how I was raised to be a king. I was literally raised to be a king. You know, even when we had nothing, they were like, dog, Mina, my granny always told me, you are great. You know, like she was like that hype man. Yeah, you are great. And the thing, and she did it with everybody, right? But like for me, it was like, I took it personal. I was like, I'm great.
Yes, please.
I'm great. I took it personal. I was like, you know, like when somebody says you're great and you're like, and they keep on telling you and you don't realize it psychologically, it positions you.
Yes.
So I think for me, I was raised to be a king. I was raised to be top of the value chain. And so I took it personal, and the first range was all about like those people who are go-getters, who are creative thinkers. They're presidential, you know, call it the presidential slim fit. They are presidential. They travel the world. They make their own decisions. They're in control of their own time. They are creative. They are connected. They are they've got a world view on things. They are not limited in thinking. And if they fall down today, they'll come back, they'll rise again 7 times. So I was speaking to those guys. That was my first pair of jeans. It was all about like, if you come from nothing, you can be great. If you come from something, you can even greater. You know, so for me, it's like, it was just a mindset that I wanted to channel through just a simple 5-pocket pair of jeans that can connect with everybody around the world. And also it's like, Tshepo, I wanted to make a name for myself. I wanted to share a story of how I come from something and inspire the guys who are also from my township, you know, like Amachita, Plome, Nkambiniami, you know, who never made it out. You know, and be an inspiration to them that actually, like, Mfana, we can all make it out. We just need to dream and do it. And you can make anything big. Anything can be big, you know, anything. Like making a phone cover, it can be big. Making a ring, you can be big. Making glasses, you can be big. Anything can be big. You just need to apply yourself, focus, be patient, and hard work, and the money will come. You know, eventually everything will come. So where we are in 2017, I met one of the owners of this place and the shareholders of this place, and they shared a very strong vision with me. And the vision was like, how do you gentrify a place without getting rid of the people who live in it? So this area, Betrans, it's one of those dilapidated areas. It was becoming like shacks, and it's like, how do you fix a place like this? You know, you bring in businesses that can work with people in the community. But like businesses that are world class, businesses that can compete on an international perspective. So for me, as a social person, like I told you, like I was raised by a social person. My grandfundis is like it's all about social working. So as a social person and a person who believes that like the power is in the community, you have what's good for a business is good for society, what's good for society is good for business. So I moved in here and started hiring people from the community, trained them up. You know, some of the ladies who are here today in the back, they come from the community. They walk to work. They spend time with their kids. Their kids come here during lunch to see mommy quick. You know what I mean? So for me, it was like, that's how you gentrify a place, and I felt like it aligns with the type of values, my personal values. It aligns with the brand values, the values that I want to put out there to the world, and I can build from here. When we started, this wasn't here, the class wasn't here. It was just this. The front was my shop, and then they had tailors, 2 seamstresses, and myself as a sales guy, and we built from there. We built like one denim at a time. We built. 2019 managed to grow the business a little bit, broke the wall. Unfortunately, with COVID affected us. Had to go back home.
Yeah, no.
And rethink and reposition ourselves. But it was a great time because I was like, damn, what do I do with all these people who are working for me? You know? And we designed a mask, and I mean, like in the first day, we almost saw like 1,000 units, and like we had a backlog for 6 months. People were like mad at me, and I was like, and people were working, people were busy, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful time, and during that time, we opened our first retail store in Hyde Park, which we still have, and from here, I think the sky is the limit.
And I mean, before we started shooting, just for context for people who were not around, you were disappointed that I only have like your Tshepo mask. But that something about that mask was saying,
grab me.
Take me now.
Yeah.
I want you now. And I was part of the backlog shape.
Yeah.
But anyways, but anyways, you speak so highly about what your grandmother's affirmations as you were growing up did for you and basically molded you into the brand that you are right now. And I see you took it into your presidential slip fit, right? And then now I also walked into your store and there are these lines of affirmations on the wall, and they're so nice because I'm just like, I went to the mirror, and it said, "Was the word Mohlala?" Oh, and I am
gorgeous. You know, like affirmation is it's a crazy thing. The things, how we see ourselves. Mirrors are like the most important thing in any household, right?
Yes.
How you see yourself, the conversation you have with yourself about yourself, are the most important conversations in the world, right? Because how you see yourself. If I say I was raised to be a king, everywhere I go, I know who I am. You can't tell me otherwise. You can't put me as a slave. I know who I am. So affirmation for us is like very big thing, and it's like small reminders. It's not in your face. It's just like it's there. When you see it, you see it. Having a big mirror is also part of that. It's like, you know, when you're walking past it, like, stand up straight, okay. Fix yourself. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, walk slow. Don't take it. Walk slow and like
be gentle with
be
yourself.
Gentle. You know what I mean? Like, be that. And I was molded to be that.
Yeah. And I mean, this one actually is the one that intrigued me the most. Indlela ibuzwa kwabaphambili. Tell me more about that one.
You know, for me, what I've learned over the past couple of years as an entrepreneur is mentorship is one of the most important thing ever. You know, it's always good if you want to take it to a global level, have people who've done it globally. Okay, cool. For us to have a global business, this is what we did. We went A, B, C. The route might not be same for us, but this is what I did, you know. So like you always, I think for me is like you always get knowledge from people who've done it, not people who are like have never done it. And also like one of our lines that resonate with me is like it was by Maya Angelou. It says I come as one and I stand as 10,000. You know, and for me, it's like I know like the people who've walked before me, you know, like my ancestors who fought for me to be here. I don't stand by myself. I stand on behalf of those people. I stand on behalf of my Oma, you know what I mean? Like, because she came before me and set the tone for me and gave me those affirmations, you know. So I don't come as one, I stand as 10,000.
Yes, you are Tshepo 10,000.
Yeah, Tshepo 10,000.
So now, a lot of businesses basically went out of operation when lockdown hit, and now you are still standing and you're even going bigger and better, like it never even hit. What is your secret to success? That kind of success, even.
Like I said, I think
so resilient.
Hey man, I'm too deep to stop. You know, like, my vision was to be like world class, to be the biggest in the world, to be like, to tell stories around the world. So I can't stop, no matter what the conditions are. You know, when when entrepreneurship is all about like, if things are hard, you find a way. That's what entrepreneurship is. So you solve. You solve for X every day. You know, every day is a new day. It presents new challenges. So you solve for X consistently. You know, as an entrepreneur, it's sometimes you have to like, okay, cool, it's not working. Let me close down. I'll come back in 3 years, or I'll come back when I'm ready. You know, but I need to solve for X. So for me, it was all about that. Like it's resilient. I was built to be a resilient person, and also it's like I have the right people around me. The right mentors, the right business partners, the right team, the right conversations, the right friends. So for me, I set up my circle to be a circle that like, mangabe go rough. What conversations are we having amongst ourselves, and how can we make our lives even better? You know, if I'm winning, how can I pass my win to you so that you can stay afloat? So it's always been about that for me, you know, like have the correct circle, have the best, the good, have a great circle of friends, have a great circle of partners, great circle of shareholders, stakeholders, and mentors who guide the type of person, the type of brand consistently. When everybody went under, it's like, hey, we need to find a solution. Let's sell masks, you know. Now that we've sold masks, what can we do? Okay, cool. Start selling a t-shirt. Start selling that. Go to people's houses. During lockdown, I was doing door-to-door sales. When people were sitting thinking good, I was like, hey, Baba, pick up the phone. How are you doing? Mbana, can I bring her? You haven't bought jeans in a long time. Can I come? Drive through? Like, you know what I mean? So for me, it was always like, because I know what I'm building. And so I will fight as much as I possibly can. I'll put my shame and vulnerability and like picking up the call and knocking at someone's house and be like, yo, Petamachi, no kiana you. Sharp, what can you buy? I buy 2 t-shirts. Sure. If you can buy 2 t-shirts, and if I have like 50 people are buying 2 t-shirts on a daily basis, I'm okay. You know what I mean? So like I had to apply that hustler in me, the street. I come from the street, Joe. You know, so when you come from the street, you always like, you gotta fight. You always gotta make things work, like call and make conversations and like, hey, who's doing what? Oh, this company is doing aprons. Can we make aprons for you? Sharp, cool, let's make aprons. What are you guys doing? What are you working on? So that was my chats. You know, when everybody's going on, I was like, how do I navigate? It's like, hey, Baba, go back to that watchtower. Be a watchtower.
And you were a watchtower who wasn't afraid of catching COVID.
Yeah, I wasn't afraid. I caught it 2 times, and I was like, yeah, it's okay.
You're standing strong now.
You're standing strong now. I stand strong.
Just to wrap it up,
yeah.
To that young person who looks at your brand and says, right now, I can't afford Tshepo jeans. I can't even afford to take a taxi to go to Tshepo and have him as my mentor. I can't even reach out to him because he probably has 1,000 DMs, right? How do I become the next Tshepo in my generation? That younger Tshepo who has the fire burning in him. What are you saying, or what would you like to say to that one person?
I think it's like, keep the fire burning, bro. It's like, don't never stop. Never stop burning. Never stop the fire from burning, regardless of your situation. Never stop keeping the fire burning. You know, it doesn't make sense. Sometimes it's like, it doesn't make sense when somebody says, don't stop dreaming. It doesn't make sense. Like how, like things are not.
You've got it all together. That's why you're saying this.
That, no, don't stop dreaming. And like, and that's the thing. I think about dreams. Dreams are a crazy thing, right? The more you keep on telling yourself the same thing over and over and over again, affirming it over and over again, eventually it will happen. The world will conspire. So for me, during lockdown, I started going to Cape Town a lot, and I learned how to surf, you know, jump on a surfboard. And I learned something amazing about surfing. And you know, when you jump on a surfboard, take a surfboard, faster on your thing, and you jump into the ocean, you swim, and then you pedal, you wait for a wave, right? But when you're waiting, you pick a wave. You don't pick everything that comes. You know, you pick a wave, and then you position yourself for the wave. You turn, you lie on your tummy, and you start pedaling, and then you'll feel the water coming before the wave starts going higher, and you feel the water coming, and it goes higher, and then you jump on the thing, you take your stronger foot, you put it forward, and you stand there and you enjoy the ride, right? But now the wave has to end at some point, so you have to jump off, but you have to time your jump. Your jump is don't jump off the shallow, because if you jump off in a shallow place, you might break your bones. So you jump off at the right time, but everything works for you. All you need to do is just chill there. That's it. It's balance yourself. So for me, it's entrepreneurship and in life journey is about catching a wave. It's picking the right wave, picking the right moment for you, for your business, for your circumstance, for anything. Picking the right, and don't be scared to ask. You know, me, I'm an asker of note. Even today, I still ask. So tell me, how do you do this? Tell me, who can I talk to? Tell me, nyanyisa. That's it, nyanyisa. Because nothing comes to people who don't ask, people who are shy. You have to put yourself out there and be vulnerable as much as you possibly can. Yes.
Thank you so much. Your story is such a breath of fresh air. And I think it's safe. It's safe to say that from here onwards, I'm calling you Soft King Tshepo 10,000. It sums up the whole story. Thank you so much
thank you for
welcoming us into your space. It's a lovely space. We actually get to see how it goes from material
right up until a nice pair of jeans.
I love it. I love it. I also need.
We need to sort you out soon.
No, please. I need to fix my life.
There's two things that I wear that are not Tshepo jeans. It's underwear, sometimes socks, shoes, hats, sometimes hats, and that's it, and jewelry. Those 5 items. But every day I live in my brand. I live in my brand. I sleep in my brand. I dream about it. How do I make it better? So you'll never find me in anything else but Tshepo. You'll never.
And I think that could be the key to what basically takes Tshepo out there. Wherever you're traveling, you are taking your own brand to the world.
Never see me with anything.
You don't even need a marketing budget.
Yeah, it's me. I'm the marketing budget.
Yes,
put money on me. I bring people.
You're the marketing model yourself.
Yeah,
please.
I'm the influencer.
It's cutting down costs.